So in terms of what is given in the problem, a 200 kilogram feed having 25 weight percent acetic acid. So that would be XAO equal to 0.25 and a feed which is 200 kilograms per hour. That's our first line. A 200 kilogram feed containing 25 weight percent acetic acid uh, is extracted using pure isopropyl ether, value of which is 600. So in this case, your V sub n plus 1, this is your solvent, is 600 kilogram per hour, and your Y A n plus 1 is 0 because this is pure. So your YCN plus 1 is 1.0. It's pure solvent. It doesn't contain any A. So that's taken from our problem. Wait. So then we are given that the exit acid concentration in the aqueous phase is to contain 3 weight percent acetic acid. The aqueous phase that is referred to is your raffinate phase. So it should contain only 3% acetic acid. So that would be your XAN, which should only have 3% acetic acid. Okay, the aqueous phase having 3 weight percent acetic acid. And then I think that's the only given information in the problem. You need to calculate the composition and amounts of the exit, extract, and raffinate stream. So composition and amounts. So in terms of the required, our extract is V sub 1 and our raffinate is Ln. So we need the composition of these two and their amounts. Okay. So we'll go to the solution of this problem. Now, if you will do overall material balance in this case, anyway, that's always the starting point, overall material balance, then you will have an LO plus B sub n plus 1 being equal to L1 plus B1 also equal to the bulk phase M. So we know the LO and the V sub n plus 1, 200 and 600. So we will substitute it here. You have a 200 plus 600, and this would be your L1 plus V1, and that would be your M. So your M now is 800. So we have an equation here of L1 in terms of V1, which is 800 minus V1, since we will be needing this later on for the required on the amounts of the two streams. Then we can do component balance. And this time, since both L1 and V1 are unknown, we cannot make a component balance with both of them unknown and their compositions also unknown. So that would make 4 unknowns in one equation. So we will make a component balance based on the bulk phase M so that we'll be able to locate M later on graphically. So as I've said, this problem is solved both analytically and graphically. So I'll set up a component balance on A. So Vn plus 1, Yan plus 1 equal to M x A M. So that's it. My goal is class for me to find this one. Okay? Anyway, actually it could be an A or it could be a C balance. But in this case, we'll make it an A balance because anyway, we're talking about acetic acid. Okay? Now wait, is it really acetic acid? Yeah, it's acetic acid. So I'll go back now to our board. So in this case, we'll have an LO of 200 and you have an XAO of 0.25. I can remember that single data, 200.25. And then you have this one as 0 because that's pure. Then I will have an MXAM. My M is 800. My XAM is unknown. So that gives me an XAM of So that would be 50, 200, sorry, 200 times 0.25 is 50 divided by 800. So that would be 0.0625 for the A. 0.0625 for the A. You can do C also if you want. But anyway, we already have the A. I will just outline the next part in the solution. I'll draw here the triangle. So let's say this is our triangular diagram. And this is our face envelope. Okay, never mind. It should never be touching there. I'm just showing to you the procedure how we do it. Next, first thing you do, you have already this one, is you plot the LO. How do you plot the LO? You simply get the composition of A in the LO, and then it's right on the x-axis. You put it right on the x-axis. So 0.25, I will just approximate. This is a point. This is a point 0.5. Then this is a 0.25. This is my LO class. Okay. Now for the solvent, which is pure isopropyl ether, then it must be here because if you recall, this is A and this is C. So I will just label it here. So this is your C, this is your A, and this is your C in terms of value. So a 100% in C for your solvent will point out to us the location of the V sub n plus 1. What do we do with this? Oh my, I have a very technicolor curve. So we will have a line here connecting these two. Ay, naglapaw. Erase it. So we have this. Let's say the 0.25 is here. So let's say this is my 0.25. Okay, for my LO, but it's not. So now using your M, the M that we got here, which is 0.0625, is my M correct, class? 0.0625, very small. Did I solve it correctly?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so if it's 0.0625, matuto siya class sa babaw-babaw. Based sa akong drawing, hindi scale, sample lang niya ako ha. Let's say for example, my point, sample lang ni class. This is my XAM, the AXAM that I have solved. What I'll do, I'll go up and go up until I reach this portion here. I'll just simply stop when I reach the line connecting your LO and your V sub n plus 1. That's your M already. Okay? Of course, everything here is not a scale. So this is your M. Now, the next thing that you do is you find the given information about the raffinate. So the raffinate is 3% acetic acid. So you look for that 3% acetic acid. It's somewhere here, right? But you're not going to place it on the x-axis. You're going to place it right on the bottom part of the face envelope. If you recall my discussion on where you're going to place the raffinate and the extract points in the face envelope, the raffinate class is below the face envelope. The extract is here. So what you're going to do is very simple. So this is my last color. You're going to connect, sorry, this is now your LN. The LN is right on the face envelope. I was able to locate it based on the XAN value. So the last part is for you to connect this LN to the M that you have here. And you'll end there. So I will make erase again because that's not my M. And I will have my M here. Transfer ko naman eh. Okay, ara na siya mo. Oh. And then I will have this line joined again. Okay, this is my M, that's an ln. You extend it until you end on the upper portion of the phase envelope, which is actually for the extract part. So this is now your V1. Your Ln and your V1 are connected through the M. So that is why I remember what I said a while ago, that they're not equilibrated. They're just simply connected through the bulk phase M. Okay? So, and the rest is just your math and your algebra. So now, using this particular location for your extract, this is your extract, from the graph, you can read your YC1. This is C, right? And below, you can read, you go down, and you can read here YA1. If you know YA1 and YC1, then you have already determined what the composition here for V1. As for Ln, all you have to do is read the C. Read the C in here. If this is the Ln location, read the C on the vertical axis. This is your XCN. So now you have answered the compositions already. Okay? Composition for V1 and Ln are all answered. So what remains are the amounts. So you just go to your component balance. So if you want the amounts in terms of L1 or V1, since we have already L1, then you can have another component balance equation here. I'll just place it here. So you have a component balance on, let's say, on E. So I will have LOXAO plus BN plus 1, YAN plus 1. I make A so that this one is automatically 0. Then I will have this time, now I will make L1 appear. So L1 XA1 plus V1 YA1. Now if you recall, we already have these values here. I've checked it because we already got it from the diagram. Or better yet, here. So your XA1 is this. XA1 is for your, sorry class, it's not X1, it's LN. This is multiple stage LN. LN. I have in mind single stage, so LN, because we have several stages here. So now, this must also be LN. Oh, I wrote LN there, but I wrote on the other side N1. Okay, so then the XA1 that I'm going to use here is this one, the 0.03, the 3%, XAN rather, and the YA1 that I'm going to use is the YA1 that I will be reading from what I've made, from the line I've made here. So that would be my YA1 placed in there. So the only unknown, if this is set to 0 already, if this is set to 0, you can set Ln in terms of V1 and you can solve now for the amounts Ln and V1. LO is known, XAO is known, this is 0, the entire term is 0. Ln you can express in terms of V1 here. And you have XAN as 3%. Your V1 is V1 of course, and you have YA1 read from your graph. So now you can determine the compositions, rather the amounts of Ln and V1, your raffinate and your extract stream. But this cannot be solved in pure analytical sense because we don't have any other way of doing it. It has to be taught on how you're going to get information from the graph. Okay, so that's how you use the graph together with the material balance equations, the overall material balance and the component balance equations in finding the information, very important in solving liquid-liquid extraction, specifically multi-stage liquid-liquid extraction. Do you have any questions so far in this particular sample problem before I go to the next topic? I still have 30 minutes. So any question here?
Nami,
Yes?
sa V1 na bala miss na naog miss, ibunggo na namon miss sa LO para makuha ang YA1.
Hindi ha. It's just my drawing. You really have to go down until you reach the horizontal axis.
Sige.
Or where it's going to rest on the horizontal axis, which gives you a composition, that's your YA1. As for the C composition, you use the Y coordinate. So you turn left here and you rest on the Y axis to get the YC1.
Okay.
Okay. Yes? Some more questions? There's no other way of solving this problem, although this will not come out in the board exam again. That's why it's not even discussed during review, because it's not expected to come out. But nonetheless, you cannot solve problems like this unless otherwise this is taught to you. So this is how you do it. Okay? The only part wherein we can use purely analytical procedure is the determination of the number of stages, wherein we can do away with the graphical interpretation here. So I will not anymore discuss it with you. We will go straight to the analytical approach of finding the number of stages. Although before, I even taught my students how to do that graphically, aside from the analytical process of finding the number of stages. No questions here. I go to the next topic. Okay. So your silence means no question. Then I will go to our slide. We will continue where we ended. So we are now on. If you have a class after this and you need to be dismissed by, let's say, 10 minutes before, you may do so. Just drop me a line in the chat box. So we're done with this. We go to the next part. Now, determining the number of stages requires Grimser equation. If you're going to read Jan Kuplis, and most students use Jan Kuplis because it's easy to understand, you will be referred to the same Grimser equation that is used in desorption or stripping. It's the same Grimser equation that is being used in extraction. Now, in here, I'm using the equation that is available in the 9th edition of your handbook, because that's the thing that you can use. Now, for those who don't have the 9th edition, and since I only have the 9th edition now, please check on your 8th edition what's the equivalent formula of this. In my previous classes, the formula that I use here
Miss,
is depend.
Excuse me, miss. Sorry.
Yes?
Kasi screen ka na, miss.
Ay, sorry. Ay, my goodness. I thought
Sige,
I'm sharing my screen already. Wait.
Sige, miss.
Okay. Wait. Where are you? Share screen. Thank you, Kat. So I'll go back. Okay. So this is the formula available in your Paris Chemical Engineer's Handbook, the 9th edition that is. In my previous batches, I'm using a different formula that still has the S and the F in the formula. Now I'm using what is available in the 9th edition. So I will explain how you're going to determine the number of stages using the said formula. Although the principle that is used here is still comparable to Grimser equation, but the variables are of course very different. The XF prime, the capital XF prime that you see here in the formula, this is, by the way, equation 15-14, page 15-18 of the 9th edition. So this is the mass of solute over the mass of the solvent in the feed. F here is feed, R here is raffinate. So mass solute in the raffinate over mass of solvent in the raffinate. So that's for the capital X sub R prime. For the Y, capital Y sub S prime, that would be the mass of solute over the mass of carrier solvent in the solvent. So it's now solute mass of solute over mass of solvent in the solvent. Now your M prime here is your distribution coefficient K prime, which is your Y prime over X prime, all in capital letters. What are these two? Your Y prime is the mass ratio of solute to carrier solvent in extract. Mass ratio of solute to carrier solvent in extract. And then your X prime is mass ratio, this is ratio class, solute to solvent in raffinate. This K. So take note, it's mass ratio now. It's not mass fraction, but rather mass ratio. The reason why they're written in capital letter. So your M prime can be your K prime. Now this is true when your, shall we say, your equilibrium curve is curved. It's not a straight line. This is just a very crude approximation. And since you don't do graphical approach in the board exams, then you can use M prime as this one. Now, in the denominator, you have the E, or we call that the distribution coefficient also. For dilute solution, this E is also K prime. So this M prime and this E are all equal if your solution is dilute. Now, when do we say that the solutions are dilute? When compositions are equal or less than 10%. If the solution concentration, let's say, is around 11 or 12, pwede pa na siya class, pero greater than that, hindi na siya pwede. And there's no other equation that we can use that the manner of determining the number of stages is purely analytical. So we just need to assume, let's say for example, your extract is already 25%. So it's not anymore dilute because it's already 25%. Then you just have to make an assumption at the beginning part of your solution. You just say that assuming that all phases in the solution are dilute, then this will be the formula to use in finding the number of stages or theoretical number of stages. Anyhow, this is just an approximation. We still need to determine the efficiency of our equipment. That way we can have the actual number of stages, because normally this one is lesser than the actual number of stages that the equipment really uses to achieve a given degree of recovery. So this is the formula now. Now, by the way, it's not here. So in this formula, I'm using here the McCabe's representation of the Krimscher equation in determining the number of stages. In McCabe, you have the concentrations here at the bottom of the column as 1 and the concentrations at the top of the column as 2. So I'm using that particular orientation here because even John Kuplis is using this particular labeling or orientation in the Krimscher equation that it is using. What I'm saying is even John Kuplis, who has this Krimscher equation, the subscript of the X and the Y's are based on McCabe. So that is why I'm using McCabe's representation here of the concentration. This one is Krimscher equation. If it's Krimscher equation that we're going to use, class, and we're not going to use the one that I have shown to you in the previous slide, this one, this is Krimscher-Souders-Brown equation, by the way. This one is Krimscher equation in John Kuplis. The problem with Krimscher equation here is you really need to determine the slope at the dilute end of your equilibrium curve, especially if your equilibrium curve is curved. So if you are to determine the slope at the dilute end of your curve, then this will be relying on graphical approach. Although you are allowed to do that in the quiz or in our exam, but in the board, then you should have a graph wherein you will really have to do graphical, because you need to plot your dilute end, project it on your equilibrium curve, and draw a line tangent to your equilibrium curve on that particular point and get the slope, because that's what is required by Krimscher equation for the M here. This will just be no big deal. We won't have big problem with the use of Krimscher equation if the relationship between X and Y is already given. Like for example, you're given Y is equal to 2.1X. Then that M is your 2.1 here. But if it's not given and you're the one who's going to get this M from the dilute end of your equilibrium curve, that's a cumbersome solution to go about. So that is why I'm using this option. I'm giving you this option to use the formula that is available in your handbook. This one is okay if you're given already the m, and if your equilibrium curve is not curved, because if you have y equal, for example, to 2.1x, as I have mentioned a while ago, that tells you that your curve is not a curve. The equilibrium curve is not a curve, but rather it's a line, because the equation I'm giving you between the relationship between x and y is that of a line. So okay lang, kahit diretso mo substitute. But if not, you will have a problem here with the m. So that's our Crimser equation from Gian Kuplis and McCabe. McCabe is using this also. Now, we will still, I'm sure you still recall this equation from gas absorption, wherein you are making overall component balance on A using inert streams, the L prime and the V prime, L prime and the V prime. This is in the case wherein the problem is asking for the minimum solvent requirement. So in the case of extraction, you are determining V prime minimum. So if you're going to determine V prime minimum, you don't use the component balance equation wherein you have LO, Bn plus 1, Ln, and V1. You don't use that, but rather you use this component balance equation wherein you're using the inert streams L prime and V prime. Now review, what are inert streams? In the case of the feed, your inert stream is your inert part of the stream is the water, if water is the carrier solvent. In the case of the diluent, in the case of your solvent, your V prime is your water. It's the other components other than water that you need to take away from the total amount of solvent that is being used. So this V prime minimum is your carrier solvent most of the time, which is water. So the value that you are giving for the minimum solvent requirement actually coming from this formula is not yet the minimum solvent requirement if your solvent is not pure solvent. Because from this formula, what you're only computing is the V prime minimum, not the V minimum. The V minimum and the V prime minimum are two very different entities if your solvent is not pure. Okay, if your solvent is not pure, your V prime minimum and your V minimum are not the same. Okay, so that's it. Now, since I have only 10 minutes more and it will be time, I will be discussing this one on Thursday, and the rest of the things in this slide I will give to you to read as well. Asynchronously, after I'm done discussing, I'm supposed to finish this one today. But since I'm not done, so I will finish it on Thursday, and the rest will be a reading and a studying of the other parts in this slide here, which is very little. This is a sample problem on extraction anchored on the principle found in McCabe. And for this week, we will be finishing extraction because I would like to go to leaching next week. Okay, so what will happen on Thursday? We will have another synchronous time meeting because I was not able to finish this today. The rest of the time, if we're done earlier, I will give it to you to read the remaining part of the slide. Or if you still have time, then I can discuss it myself as well. Any question, class? I will stop sharing now. Do you have any questions? Okay, I have also a student assembly to attend to with the dean online, so I need to dismiss the class early. Questions? Okay, none. Sige. So I will stop here now. Thank you for listening. We will continue this on Thursday. Okay, bye class.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.